Hello, welcome back to Blender Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna be revisiting the old node tree setup, basically utilizing inset, extrude, and some adaptive polygons happening here. So to create these mutated flowers or cactus. So let's get started. So basically, it's super simple. Each part of the arm is created thanks to these adaptive polygons, but originally they are basically coming from here. That it becomes a donor. So the master itself is basically just a box that can be subdivided, poke, and dual mesh. I even have this subdivided to quads, and these become the master, where each of the polygon face is being replaced by this arm, and the arm itself can be randomized in terms of height. So this is like just like the basic of Tissue Addon from Alessandro Zamparelli, but as a node. So Tissue tools, I have it here as well, but so let's take a look. So this is how I created the arm. So the arm can have as little as 4 or 3 arms, and they all have different look depending on this inset faces nodes. So I have a combo of inset faces. There's this extrude region as well. So let's actually reduce the number of cut if I can. So where should I reduce it? Poke face, dual mesh. Maybe if I don't subdivide, if I just replace this quickly like that. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm changing the look a little bit. The adaptive polygon node seems to be slightly failing if we have a little face. I mean, if we have like non-quad face for the instance of the arms. But anyway, so let's study this a little bit. So I start with this n-gon shape, and I'm using this inset, and whatever parameter value that I change here will affect the next one. So this seems to be controlling the bottom part, and each of the node is having this mask that's being passed on from one to another, which is kind of interesting because the mask seem to be, because it's affecting the other, so it's gonna do like a flip effects and invert depending whether you are using out or in. So this is a sometimes it's like trial and error, but it's actually there's a logic behind it, and some combination actually doesn't give you something that looks beautiful or pretty, but still kind of interesting when seeing this happening at the same time and procedural all the way down the thread or down the stream, I mean. Okay, so I think this is controlling the arm, right? We can make it longer or shorter. So sometimes it grows in thickness, sometimes it becomes smaller. It's almost like an actual plant, even though it is like alien looking plants. Okay, this I quite like this, like thick, fat arm. We can actually make a character simply using simple setup. I wonder if I think Tissue Addon have more options in terms of adapting the arms into an actual object. So I might actually try that. So all the way in, this arm goes as it becomes the donor for this master recipient. So this is the master, right? But this one has been subdivided. This is how it looks before. In fact, I should have used this part. So I'm gonna create a preview here and bake it. So this is what we have. And then I'm gonna create preview of the inset or the arm and bake it. So if we are using Tissue Addon, what's gonna happen? Select this, select that. Tissue Addon. There's a tessellate and dual mesh. Okay, we already done the dual mesh here, so we just tessellate. And there's this option. This is the one that's interesting, I think. So let me save this very quickly before anything weird that might happen. 1, 2. Tessellate. Quad. It's not quad, so maybe we should use van and just hit apply. Okay, we got a result right away. And this tessellate is not just a once-off thing. You can always make changes after the fact. So this is with the quad options. You can see it's not filling up. The quad is not always perfect looking. Okay, local doesn't work. Global doesn't work in this case. There's options to use constants or relative, but it doesn't work too well because it's not quad. So switch to van, which is turning it into quad, and it's gonna give a better result. Okay, how about patch? Oh, patch is interesting. Patch is interesting. It doesn't fill up this part, but it's giving nicer look as well. So that's for the frame, which is the filling up the edges. That's unusual. Let's just fan for now. Advanced, okay, there's advanced setting as well. You can control over the shift, rotation, faces, shape, cases, and material. If I hide those options and then check it out over here, I think we can still do some changes. Okay, that's for the scaling. There's the option to randomize. You can merge. And cap holes or bridge loops. Okay, that's interesting. So actually, I prefer the cap holes. It doesn't always work, but at least it tries to cover the hole, so it's becoming like a single mesh. Yeah, I just hit the subdivide just now and probably a little bit complicated. Yeah, like I said, it's not 100% perfect, but this arm looks perfect. Some of them doesn't seems to work quite well. They need to be touching each other. But this is not too bad. Actually, I like how it fused and merged into one piece. So yeah, I think it's a bit slow. Let's just terminate that, and let's go back to play around with it a little bit more. So file, open recent. Okay, yeah, I quite like this actually. So we don't need to go too far. We can subdivide. Okay, this one is turning it into the van. We don't need to do inset. This is just another additional details. But if I just connect this into adaptive, and let's hide the preview. That's the preview. We get this arm. And if we can unsubdivide something. Yeah. I wonder why we're still having so many arms. Oh yeah, because this just plug this in. Because this one is subdividing it. And we are using the face from the other guy. Yeah, I think it seems to be correct. I just need to make this one so it's kind of more tight fitted. So when all of them kind of fusing together, it's looking much better, like a real plant. So I can keep these elements. Okay, so adaptive nodes does all the job. So we have 72 different objects that I merge into a single object, but I can unmerge it at any time and also turn on random color. So that's our beautiful alien plant. Let's play around with width. There's Z coefficients that you can also use. Keep it at 1. Oh, there's the rotations. That's useful and handy. You can also randomize that if you like. There's also this polygon rotations. I don't use it much. And there's polygon mask. Donor per face. You can also join over here if you like. But if you want like multicolor, you can just turn off merge. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, so I guess I have nothing else to say, but basically, like, if you like, you can replace the box with something else. For example, cylinder. And cylinder by default is have too many faces, so let's reduce that and just replace. So this one is based on cylinder. And because this is adaptive, you need to maintain the squareness as much as possible so it looks correct. Still look kind of rounded, probably because of the poke and dual mesh and the inset. or we don't use the inset in this case. Something is causing it to change shape. It's 20. Increase the height. So more or less it should look like a cylinder. You can twist it, not too much. Let's look at the base mesh actually. Okay, so that's how it looks. That's why. Let's get rid of the cap. Just keep the side. And then poke a little bit. Okay, so you can see this pattern. So actually I need to grow it in height. So it's more like a cactus. This is also not too bad. It could look kind of nice like this. There you go. It's not bad actually. It's an alien looking Christmas tree or something. Yeah, twist doesn't work quite well. Yeah, just some ideas. So basically it's good for adding details. Some people might say, okay, it looks like Gribble. Yeah, maybe perhaps it is. So adaptive polygons again. This node does all the job. Heavy calculations, instancing on every single face. So yeah, I might revisit this node again, this setup in the future, but we are getting more and more complicated. But still, this is pretty simple, and for what it does, it gives us this unusual details. And underneath is pretty much like Tissue Addon, but Tissue Addon can do more, and it's actually worth looking into because you can separate by material and you can replace some areas with different instance. So that's also kind of interesting. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.